the Futureforce Tech Launchpad info session. Really excited to have you all. Hold on, let me switch gears here. Switching to share screen. All right, can you guys see my screen? Oops, hold on, not it's loading. Yes, thumbs up. Can you guys see it? Awesome. All righty, well, welcome everyone. This is our Salesforce and CodePath pre-internship program info session. We're really excited to have you. We'll start off with a quick round of introductions. I will go ahead and start it. My name is Tori. I'm from the marketing and outreach team here at CodePath. I may have met you either in person at FIU or via Handshake or LinkedIn. Really excited to have you all tonight and tell you more about this exciting opportunity with Salesforce. I can kick it off to Brian.
Hey, good evening, you all. My name is Brian Wallace. I'm a senior instructional program manager here at CodePath, helping to lead our immersive programs, which this would actually fall underneath. So excited to talk with you all and answer any questions you might have.
Larry, you want to go next?
Yes, happy to go next. Hi, everyone. Larry Kamgia. I'm with Salesforce. I lead our diversity recruiting programs and partnerships. And I'm based in San Francisco. So I'm really excited to be with all of you today and share a little bit about the program, but also answer all the questions that you all have. Now pass it on to my colleague, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry. Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Kimball, and I lead a team of recruiters that's responsible for hiring tech interns for Salesforce product here in EMEA, and I am based in Bellevue, Washington, so Pacific Northwest. So thank you so much for joining. Super stoked about this presentation and to meet all of you. I'll go ahead and popcorn over to Deepa Patel.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here today. I have the pleasure of working with Larry and Tim at Salesforce, as well as with the rest of the crew from CodePath, and excited to speak with you today. Over to Tori.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We will go ahead and dive in. I think I'm passing it back to Larry and Tim. They have a quick message.
Yes. So before we get started, we wanted to start by saying thank you. Thank you to all of you, because we recognize that you all have busy school schedules and we know Zoom fatigue is real. So it really means a lot to us that you decided to spend the next hour with us to learn about Salesforce, CodePath, and opportunities this summer for you. So thank you.
Awesome. I love that attitude of gratitude. All right. So this is a quick agenda. We're going to start off with getting to know CodePath, then we'll dive into the pre-internship program, learn a little bit about what you'll expect. We'll get into the eligibility and application process. We'll kick it back to Salesforce. They'll share about their company culture, what it's like to work for them and how they work. And then lastly, we'll have a Q&A portion where you can turn on your mic, ask questions in real time, and we'll answer that as well. If you do have questions throughout the info session, by all means, put it in the chat. We do have team members responding to the chat, but if we don't get to it, feel free to hang tight at the end and we'll get to that as well. All right, let's get to it. So, whoops. All right, so who is CodePath? To get to know CodePath is to get to know our founders. So meet Michael, Nathan, and Tim. They initially founded CodePath as a for-profit company, creating and redesigning engineer onboarding programs for some of the largest companies like Airbnb, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, and more. Through CodePath.com, the founders found another gap. They realized that working with senior engineers wasn't really solving the industry's problems early enough, and that programming courses, the programming courses they developed to teach professional engineers also provided the missing curriculum and support to make college students more likely to persist and succeed in computer science education. As they continued, another larger problem was uncovered. Their peers in Silicon Valley were predominantly white graduates from elite universities. Black, Latinx, and indigenous first generation or low income students trying to break into tech were often incredibly talented and driven, but lacking the skills, connections, and mentorship needed to thrive and move up in the ranks in such a competitive and challenging industry. So in 2017, the team behind CodePath.com founded who we are today, which is CodePath.org, a 501c3 nonprofit, increasing diversity in tech, transforming college computer science education for underrepresented minorities and underserved populations. To date, we've trained 10,000 plus computer science college students since 2015. Over 61% of our students are women and underrepresented minorities, and we aim to increase these numbers year after year. We're really proud of this. So how does CodePath work? Step one, we partner with like-minded organizations also looking to fix the inequity in tech. These partnerships each look different. Some will fund us and some will actually help us update and design our curriculum. For example, Google helps to update our Android development course, and Meta helps us to design our cybersecurity course. These partners allow for all of our courses and resources to be completely free and be the latest and greatest content. Secondly, we teach our courses both remotely and on campus to students across the nation. All of our courses are hands-on and will leave you with tangible products that will live beyond the course. Our app development courses leave you with multiple apps to include in your portfolio, including this pre-internship, which is based on web development. And then lastly, in order to diversify the tech industry, we need to get our students into the world of tech, right? So our Career Center offers resources, guides, technical mentorship, virtual workshops, and networking events to prepare our students for a career in tech. CodePath also leverages our large network to launch our students into high-paying jobs and career paths. And in this case, and why you guys are here today, is we have partnered with Salesforce to bring you the Futureforce Tech Launchpad pre-internship opportunity this summer. So really excited to share more details about that. We're really grateful for our partners, for their generous support, and to allow us to carry out this mission that we are very passionate about. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this on to Brian. He's going to go into the depths of the program that you guys will be looking into this summer.
Thanks, Tori. So I get the pleasure of sort of introducing you guys a little bit furthermore to the Futureforce Tech Launchpad, which is a partnership between Salesforce and CodePath and our pre-internship program that we really want to make sure that you guys get a chance to know more about. It is a 10-week paid summer pre-internship program for rising college juniors, meaning that you'll be sophomores who complete the spring 22 semester. And we really want to focus this around folks who are interested in the career of software engineering. Hopefully that's you. Hopefully you have some ideas in terms of what that looks like. Give you just a little bit of the highlights there. Students will be introduced to full stack web development, including database, backend code, front-end code, testing, as well as looking at deployment via our classroom instruction. You also will be paired with professional mentors at Salesforce, and you guys will have a chance to meet on a weekly basis, having a chance to explore what does it mean to be in the industry, having a chance to have one-on-one conversations, and hopefully build pretty interesting relationships by the time the program is over. Also, you'll have a chance to create and present a capstone project during the second half of the course, which is built on some of the interests that you and your additional partners may have and a problem you may want to solve. In addition to that, all of this gets a chance to take place at the actual Salesforce campus in San Francisco. So the Salesforce team will be really excited to welcome you in person to their campus in San Francisco. And the program does happen from June 13th all the way to August 19th. Again, that 10-week program. And it is what we call immersive, which means that it's going to be happening Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. And that'll be Pacific Standard Time. So again, just some of those highlights to where you are. And we'll jump over and give you sort of a deeper look into what that schedule will look like. So let's see. Those first 5 weeks are really about the idea of instruction. And I think we can go to the next slide on that one for us, Tori. Yep. So weeks 1 through 5 are really about being instruction. So you guys are getting introduced to these concepts. You're having a chance to sort of learn what are the bits and pieces of that full stack technology are, which leads to each day sort of the morning time is broken down in that instructional time period where you'll get a chance to sort of learn what that concept will be. And then that'll lead to a lab that will happen, or what we call sort of our independent work block. That'll happen in the afternoon. And then all of that will lead to what we call our weekly assignments that will ask you to take those concepts that you learn in the morning and to put them together and show us what you know. So week 1 through 5 is really all about the instruction, you getting to know what it looks like. In addition to these ideas and those concepts of those instructional days, we also have what we call our tech taste workshops. And these are opportunities for us to build in and supplement the curriculum with spotlight technologies that you might be interested in, and or additional soft skill opportunities for what it might mean to work as an engineer in the actual industry itself. So those also get a chance to be built in that afternoon work time. One of those other things that you'll get a chance to see in the afternoon is that time for built in for you to actually work with your mentor. Notice there's that opportunity that says that one-on-one time. So you get a chance to actually work with them and set a time that works best for you and your mentor. Also, what happens there is we have what we call our pod syncs. So that's a time where you and your other members of your pod will get a chance to work with your mentors that come a little bit later. And then once we get to week 5, it's that opportunity for you as your members in your group, which you guys will work in about groups of 3 to 4, will start to pitch your idea for a capstone. And so when that happens around week 5, when we make that transition, you'll get a chance to have those last 5 weeks of the program to actually work specifically on building out your capstone from scratch. So working with the instructional team for support, and then also working with your mentor to help you build out what that capstone will look like. What are the pieces in order to make that happen? So just an overview in terms of what are all the concepts you might actually be learning and actually will be learning here. And sort of we start from this idea of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we move all the way down to the idea of actually deploying your full stack web application. So you can see week by week, we're adding on some of those opportunities and additional features and concepts for you to build into your program. Now, the one thing we always say is that this is the foundational pieces. And the idea is that by the end of these 5 weeks, you should have everything you need in order to build out a fully functional full stack program. But that's not the only thing that you can use. We love to say that you are a lifelong learner. And as an engineer, even in practice, you can speak to any of them. They will say that they are always constantly learning what are other pieces and other opportunities that they can use to make their products better. So we always encourage you to also maybe learn or look for different ways for you to incorporate other technologies as well. So we can go to the next slide as well. And we'll speak a little bit more about the actual Capstone project. So again, like I said, through those weeks 5 through 10, you'll be in groups or pods of about 3 pre-interns to build your project using your own design. We ask sort of the first part of that is that your scoping of what this project begins really around week 3 through 5, where you're really starting to think about what is something that you'd be interested in building. And we ask that you sort of submit that pitch to get it approved by our instructional team. Starting at week 4 and 5, you'll start to meet as a group and start thinking about what is the parts that you all might play, or what might be the talents that you can bring into play. And then looking at your mentors and sort of figuring out how could they be helpful to you as well. So also looking for that feedback. It's a big piece of our mentor space. So when you're getting here, we want you really to think about how can you leverage that relationship with your mentor to help you create the best capstone project you can. And then lastly, once that week 5 and through 10 starts, it shifts in terms of our schedule a little bit, where most of that time becomes much more independent. We go from 5 days to instruction to about 2 days of instruction, and we get more of this work experience where you are going to meet with the instructional team more around in a stand-up fashion. You will be checking in with your mentors as well as the instructional team and letting them know your progress through those weekly pod syncs as well. So just giving you an idea of what it could really look like in terms of a everyday work environment with you as part of this project. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to see some of the projects that have been created through our site, through our program here so far. So last year, this is one program known as Curious. It actually tracks cryptocurrency in terms of where students might be able to see, or anyone be able to see how cryptocurrencies are doing, learn a little bit more about actual cryptocurrency, and then be able to track some of the most popular ones in this space. This next one is called Event Me, and it was actually a take on how event platforms could be better and what does it mean to make that happen. So this was from beginning to end application to be able to set up events and then also be able to register for them and make them available for make them findable or searchable for others to find as well. And so the last piece we want to talk about is sort of eligibility. and this idea of who can participate. Well, we're looking for people who are excited about going into software engineering. We understand that you are college students, and that might not necessarily be something you know for sure. But if it is something on your list and something you're seriously considering, we want to make sure that you are part of this program. Also, you want to make sure that you are going to be a rising junior, that you're completing your sophomore year in the spring of 2022. And also, we want to make sure that you are pursuing computer science, that you have a field of that's computer science or computer science related, i.e. information systems, electrical engineering, and so forth. We also ask that you have completed at least some sort of intro to programming or CS 101 type of course, because this course does move pretty quickly, and we'll be covering concepts that we want you to be familiar with, such as functions, conditionals, loops, variables, and etc. The last piece that we're looking for, because this is a pre-internship and we are excited to make sure that you make those connections with our partners, are students that are exhibiting professionalism, that can communicate effectively and have a collaborative attitude, but ultimately definitely have a growth mindset. Okay, we do want to identify that this opportunity currently is only for students who are able to work in the U.S. Unfortunately, we do not provide sponsorship for the internship at all. Okay. And just so that you know, for our application process, there's 2 steps here. The first one is that you want to make sure you visit this link here to get you to CodePath to be able to see the application. It's a pretty short application, just asking some background information for you so that we know who you are and who's applying. And then secondly, there's a piece of pre-work that we ask. It is, if you are familiar with, and maybe I'm dating myself, but it is actually a game that used to be called Simon, if you're familiar with it, that actually gives you a pattern of lights and sounds for you to actually follow, and the user has to then repeat that pattern. So we actually took recreate this in a web application, and we give you the steps to do so. So don't feel frightened if you've never done anything of this nature. It's okay. There's step-by-step instructions for you to actually complete this pre-work. And so we really just want to see where you are and how you feel like this or these types of projects would be as far as difficulty for you. How do you feel like this is something that you'd still want to do as part of the program? So once you have that completed, we have a few reflection questions for you to answer. And part of that is including a quick video response that we'd have you to do as well. So just want to give you those process there, and to let you know that what we're looking for is that making sure if you are going to actually apply for us, we want to make sure that you have those deliverables completed and make sure that they are completed and submitted within the deadline. That deadline is going to be April 22nd by 11:59 p.m. and that's going to be Pacific Standard Time. Please make sure that those are in place because we do want to make sure that we consider your application. And then we want to let you all know that decisions will be made by the very latest. You'll hear from us from May 2nd. So that'll be the latest time you hear us. So it'll be a really quick turnaround from that final deadline until you can hear us. And that the big part of that is because, again, we want to make sure, because you all who are participating will actually be in person at Salesforce's campus, we need all of the time that we can to actually get every information we need to make sure that all of those logistics are in place from that early May until getting you guys started in early June. All right, so making sure that if you do hear any information from us or any correspondence, that you respond as quickly as possible so we can make sure that you are still considered and ready to go. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll have a little bit of time up at the end. I think that's my last piece, and I'll pass it back to Tori.
Yes, all right, it's the Salesforce team. You want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tori and Brian. I think we can click ahead maybe one slide here. For those of you that did not meet me at the intro, my name is Tim Kimball, and I am a recruitment manager at Salesforce. So I lead a team of recruiters who's responsible for hiring tech interns and then converting those interns into full-time employees. And I'm based in the Pacific Northwest. You're going to hear from my colleague Larry in just a moment here. But for now, I'm going to tackle one big question. If we want to go to the next slide here. What is Salesforce? This is very much a legitimate question because we're not an electric car, we're not a spaceship, we're not this tangible product that you can touch, feel, and smell. So what is Salesforce? So with that in mind, for people on the call, if you can drop in the chat, maybe some guesstimates of what Salesforce is. Maybe you already know what we are as a company, as a product. let's get some ideas kind of flowing in here. CRM, CRM, CRM. People have done their homework. That's absolutely right. Salesforce is the #1 customer relationship management platform in the entire world, or as we like to call it, and many of you like to call it, CRM. So that's it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's over. No, I'm just kidding. I've got a ton of more meat on the bone because I'm sure a lot of you have a lot more questions. Yes, Salesforce is CRM, but what does CRM do? What does Salesforce do? So let's take a look at the next slide. I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle here, so bear with me, but we got about, I don't know, maybe 200 some odd people on the call right now. So it's a fair to guess that a number of you probably have one of these in your pocket, right? An iPhone. Let me get all those Apple users out there. You got an iPhone in your pocket? Apple loyalists? Yeah. And what does an iPhone help you do? Why do people use their iPhones? Let's see in the chat here. Connect, talk to people, order food, order a car. Ultimately, an iPhone just makes your life incredibly easy, right? It puts a ton of power in the palm of your hand, and it really kind of is a personal productivity tool. And while many of the apps on an iPhone are in fact developed by Apple, many of them are not. They're just apps that kind of talk to each other and simply connect the dots of your personal life and make things easier to get done. And Salesforce is a lot like that, just like an iPhone. It's a platform that allows us to deliver great apps to our customers and then allows our customers to deliver great apps to their customers, okay? So if we want to jump to the next slide, we don't call our product an iPhone, guess it, we call it something else. It's a Salesforce Customer 360. And basically we offer apps at every single touch point of a customer's journey, regardless of that business size or maybe their industry. So instead of having apps like Maps or iTunes, we've got apps for things like sales, marketing, commerce, service. Because today, our customers, Salesforce customers, they really need to have a single view of their customers. They need a single source of truth across all the touch points of their customers. They need new digital solutions, digital sales, digital customer service. So the Customer 360 platform is how our customers build trust, health, and safety with their customers, okay? So now you know a little bit more about like CRM, Salesforce, but you're probably wondering yourself like, okay, like how does this even play a part in my daily life? And I know I've thrown around the term customer quite a bit. So let me talk about a few of our customers in the next slide here, because chances are you have probably had a number of unknown interactions with Salesforce before in your life. So take, for example, maybe Adidas. Anyone order like a product from Adidas online, maybe shoes or a hat or something like that? Well, if you made that order online, then you bought on the company's e-commerce platform, which is built on the Salesforce Commerce Cloud. Commerce Cloud is trusted by thousands of customers in more than 80 countries worldwide. How about like Yeti? Yeti is all the craze with the water bottles and the very expensive coolers. Well, the entire order management process for Yeti, all the way from invoice to shipping notifications, that's powered on our sales and service platform. Maybe you're waiting for a lift, and while you're waiting for a lift, you're listening to some music through Sonos. Both of those are Salesforce customers. So you kind of get where this is going, right? We've got 150,000 customers worldwide in just about every industry imaginable. So like from banking, government, healthcare, nonprofit, merchandise, like we just talked about, they're all running their business on Salesforce platform, okay? So now that you know a little bit more about Salesforce as a company, as a product, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Larry, who can tell us a little bit more about who Salesforce is.
Thanks, Tim. Like you said, now you all understand what Salesforce does. And now we're going to talk about who is Salesforce. If we go to the next slide. So our story actually begins with our values. So I'm going to go over here some of our the 5 values that we have here at Salesforce, starting with trust. Trust is our #1 value. And here, trust has been our highest value since the beginning. Our customers trust our technology to perform and to be secure. And they trust that we will communicate openly and transparently. And then we have customer success. We are a B2B company, so our customers are other companies, and their success is our success. So we put them first, and we act as trusted digital advisors. And then we have innovation. So we ensure that our customers always have access to the latest technologies, which allows them to innovate, build, and stay ahead of their industries. And then we have equality, because we are here at Salesforce committed to being active allies. we thrive for a more equal, inclusive, sustainable, and better world. And we believe that equality and diversity make us a better company. And then we have sustainability, because right now we are in a climate emergency and it's time for bold leadership. So we are committed to bringing our full power to accelerate the world's journey to net zero, because everything rests on a stable climate. Now let's talk about how we put these values into action. We believe that business is the greatest platform for change here at Salesforce, and we're committed to giving back to our communities through our 111 philanthropy program. And some of you probably have heard of this, but over the past 21 years, we've given back 6.7 million volunteer hours globally, and over 532 million in grants to organizations, nonprofits, and over 54,000 institutions are currently using our products for free or at a discounted rate. And as you can see here, we also have $400 million that are in our Salesforce Foundation endowment. And on top of all of this today, more than 15,000 companies over 100 countries have joined us in the Pledge 1% movement, which means giving back 1% of their time, 1% of their equity, and 1% of their product back into the community. Go to the next slide. We also drive equality internally through our equality groups, which are employee-led organizations that build communities and educate allies. And here at Salesforce, we have about 12 equality groups that represent a broad diversity of our employees. And here, everyone, including allies, are welcome and encouraged to join an equality group at Salesforce. So when you join us this summer, you have access to fun equality events, but also an opportunity to build your network with equality group leaders. And a few of my favorites are BoldForce, which is our community of Black employees, but also Outforce, our LGBTQ community. Next slide. So on the same topic of culture, we are thrilled with the success that our platform and our Trailblazer community have been able to achieve over the years. And as you can see here, our values helped us drive revenue, which has been able to make us the world #1 CRM. But what we're particularly proud of is that we're also leaders in innovation, in philanthropy, in culture. And it's our Trailblazer who make it all possible. And you get to be one of them when you join us this summer. Next slide. So back to our Futureforce Tech Launchpad. So it's not just meaningful projects that make launching a career at Salesforce appealing. So the scholars that will be selected to join us this summer will participate in social events and volunteer activities, but you'll also be paired with a mentor who will be invested in your learning throughout the 10 weeks and help you navigate Salesforce. And like we mentioned at the beginning, not only will you be paid, but you will also receive a relocation and housing stipend for the summer that you get to spend in San Francisco. So I know it's a lot of information, but you can check it all out by following our social platforms in case you would like to get a sneak peek into what a Futureforce scholar or intern experience look like, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So definitely join us so you can learn more about those experiences. All right,
Awesome.
So I know there was
so
questions
much.
in the chat. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. Really exciting stuff, diving into your to Salesforce. So we really encourage you all to apply, complete the pre-work. My colleagues will drop the application link in the chat. If you haven't started your application already, please keep in mind the deadline is April 22nd. So there's a little bit of time left, but we definitely encourage you all to apply. Also, if you guys are, struggling on the pre-work or anything, know that you're not alone. We do offer support 24 hours here at CodePath's. So we have this pre-work support Slack that we encourage you to join. There's hundreds of students already in there that are, kind of trying to work through this pre-work as well. So my colleagues will drop the Slack link. And once you are already in there, you'll kind of see what looks like this Slack channel here. You're going to want to put the web dev hashtag in this search bar up here, and then you'll be able to join it. It kind of gets confusing. It might take you to some of these other channels, but you're going to want to be in the web dev channel specifically. So awesome. That is basically it. This leads to our Q&A portion. I'll stop sharing my screen and, we can go one by one. If anyone would like to raise their hand so we can kind of go in order there. Yeah, there's a lot of information. So thanks for hanging tight. All right, it looks like we have one person, Omar. Let's see, did you drop your question in the chat? Oh, maybe not. Okay. I will go to Rose. Hi, Rose. Hi. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear her? No, me neither.
No.
Oh no. Or if you want to put your question. Oh, try again. Oh, no.
Feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll get you.
Yeah,
Rose.
we'll get you. We'll get back to you. Drop it in the chat and we'll follow up.
Okay.
Cool. All right, Colin.
Yeah, so obviously San Francisco is extremely expensive. I was just curious if your rates are competitive with normal Salesforce interns for this program, because they make the 50 an hour number plus 3,000 for housing per month, right?
Mhm.
Is it competitive with those, or is it a different number?
The compensation is 8,800 for the 10 weeks. So that's the allotted compensation for this pre-internship.
And in addition to the compensation, I think we mentioned that relocation and housing will be provided to students who get accepted into the program for the 10 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys provide housing directly, or?
No, you receive a stipend.
Got it, thank you.
All right, next I see Kirby.
Hi, yeah, I actually kind of was curious about Salesforce a little more. I was kind of curious what it looks like in terms of Salesforce working with directly with companies, and kind of if software engineers are kind of always working with a representative from whatever company they're trying to help. Kind of was curious about what that looks like.
Yeah, that'd be a great question for some of the engineers on our team, right? It really depends on what product area you'd be in within Salesforce, okay? There are some people at Salesforce that are building internal tools and systems for our own platform. There are some people who are building part of the platform so our company can build apps for other customers. But we're a pretty cohesive, collaborative unit in that we do have sales representatives who have close relationships with some of our customers and understand what our customer needs are. And therefore, they're able to relay those customer needs to our dev team so that we're always meeting our customers and what our customer success is, so to speak. Again, kind of depends on what team that you're on, what product that you're contributing towards. But yes, there's a collaborative engagement between our customers, our sales team, our sales engineering team, and then of course our dev team to make sure that we're delivering what our customers want and need in order to be successful.
Awesome. Cool. All right. It looks like we have Peter.
Hi. So if we are already accepted and committed to doing the interview prep course, and the timing matches up with this, which I just checked and it does, are we able to do both, or is there a limit on how many CodePath courses that we can take at a time?
Brian, you want to chime in on that?
Sure, no problem. Great question. What we say is that the idea is that between these particular programs that are happening in the summer is that you would probably want to be able to take one, especially because this is an immersive program. And the technical interview prep is also fairly intense as well. So just being realistic about you being able to be successful, we'd ask that you choose one or the other in that space. And that's exciting that you accepted into one already. Great job.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, I see Ashley.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you so much for hosting this info session. It was really informative. And my question is, I was wondering how mentors are paired with students. Is there going to be an event to see if we're compatible and how they can help us?
So I can jump in that one too. So So Salesforce and CodePath have been working really hard to develop out and find mentors that are really excited about working with the program. And so what we'll do is we'll ask those mentors what are some of their actual ideal situations and qualities that they'd be looking forward to sharing, things they're really interested in working on. And in the same way, our selected students, we'd also ask them as well, sort of a survey that we'll do as you guys are selected. And we'll use that to help do that particular matching piece that happens. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I see William.
Hi, I was just wondering from now until the beginning of the program, is there anything you guys would recommend that we brush up on, like soft skills or anything like that to best succeed this summer?
Brian, you want to lead that one?
Sure. I think, so what I would always say is one of the things that we're looking for is really problem solving skills, and then being able to sort of talk through what are some of the opportunities that you are either struggling with, if you're running into some opportunities. It's one of those things that's really interesting. If you want to try and brush up on something, really brush up on what does it look like for you to collaborate with others, maybe do a couple of different group projects and sort of talk those through. In addition, it is the full stack technologies. So if you want to sort of get more familiar, we ask that you not try and become an expert by the time the program happens, because again, that sort of defeats a part of the program. But we do want you to sort of think through, if you are not familiar with something at all, maybe there's an opportunity for you to sort of look at that in the space. I'll open it up. Anyone else have anything that they think would make sense for students to think about or brush up on before?
I think you got it on my end.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Brian. All right, next I see Howie.
Hi, that's me. Thank you guys so much for hosting this information session. And my question was, I completed the site PreWork, and I reused that for this application, but should I go back and like redo it or redo my interview and resubmit for this program?
As far as I know, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, you can submit the same to both since it's pretty much the same pre-work and prompt questions.
Correct. So if you were able to submit for site, and there should have, depending on when you did it, there was probably a question asked if you were interested in FTL as well. So that's already captured. So no need to go back in and do anything additional unless you just feel really excited about wanting to redo the work in that way. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't so much the work because that's pretty much the same, but the interview, like if there are different things that criteria like the applications we're looking for that I had to tailor towards like Salesforce versus the other one.
Understood. No, I think you will be fine. And I think the idea is that we really are looking for similar things across the board. And this just happens to be an example of an expression of the program in partnership with Salesforce as well. So I wouldn't want you to worry about that piece, because we will be able to see through the application how much your interest is and what you're really wanting to participate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you. All right, I see Sammy next.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, how can one be a standout applicant?
I would say, would love to see some enthusiasm, confidence in your interview portion, maybe diving into some technical skills that you are working on and things of that nature. Brian, is there anything else that comes to mind?
I think those are great. I would also say it's your video, and we're watching a lot of videos. So I want to just go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah.
A lot of videos. So making sure that you are genuine, authenticity really does come through in videos or not. And then taking the time that you have to really sort of be thoughtful in your answers and questions, and sort of thinking about maybe taking a moment to sort of take that extra step to be more thoughtful than maybe the first thing that you're sort of thinking about. So the questions seem pretty simple, and they're meant to be that way because they're not meant to be a blocker, but it really does help us to get to know more about you. So the more you can kind of give us about you in those that 5 minutes, the more that we'll be able to kind of pull from.
Yeah, definitely agreed.
Thank you.
Good.
Cool. All right, I see Kieran.
Hi guys. Thanks so much for having this first of all. But my question is, so like following FTL, like how does this this Salesforce have any like other career development tracks that are like partnering with FTL? So let's say if we do FTL, are we like sidelined to like a different program in Salesforce, or is anything after FTL that we can look forward to?
Well, at the end of FTL, you will be able to apply for software engineering internship for the following summer. So you're not being put on the sidelines. Actually, you'll be a part of our ecosystem, and you'll be able to network and connect with engineers. You have a mentor. You get to connect with our team, and ultimately, being considered for a software engineering internship for the following summer.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
All right. Next, I see Sora.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so from what I understand, we work on a project throughout the course of the program. And so is that like project topic assigned to us, or is that something we come up with as like a group, or how does that work?
The Capstone Project, you are able to kind of curate with your group, whatever application you would like to create. I think in earlier weeks, you will kind of practice those skills on different apps, like the Flickster movie application, and then it looks like a student store and a life tracker application. And then it culminates in an application of your choosing. Like the examples that we shared were based on cryptocurrency. The student was passionate about cryptocurrency, or making an event app better. So it culminates in an application of your choosing with your team.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. All right, next I see an FAU student, Ian.
Yes, my name is Ian.
Hi.
Hello. So I had a question about the presentation. So I understand that we have a capstone project towards the end of the semester, towards the end of the program. And so I wanted to ask, is there any sort of, I'm sure they'll tell us, but any sort of, will we have a presentation? That's basically what I was asking. If so, is there any attire, any requirements, anything that I need to be aware of?
Well, Brian, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So you will need to present your project and application at the point at what we call our demo day. And so that is a process and what that looks like. You obviously will give you more specifics around the actual details in terms of those pieces that go along with it. I don't foresee there. I saw there was a question going in the chat around attire in terms of what that looks like. This is meant again to see you all present what you have created and what it looks like. So we'll put it there. But again, those details you'll definitely be given in lots of time in advance to be able to do those pieces. So you'll feel comfortable and confident about what it is that you need to be able to do on that day.
All right. Thank you for the information.
No worries.
All right, next I see, apologies if I butcher your name, Salhedin, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, yay.
Thank you. So I have a couple questions. The first one is about the eligibility. Technically, some people are the class of 24, but they might be able to graduate before that. Would that be a problem for the eligibility criteria? And the second question is about the between the site and the FTL programs. I think someone dropped this on the chat also. Will there be some time to, if someone gets accepted to both, will there be some time between the deadline for both programs to choose which one, and do you have any advice? What's basically the difference between both programs? Thank you.
I'll start with the easier question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to start with the first question regarding the graduation year. Now, like we mentioned, this is a pre-internship program, so which is why we're targeting the second year students, knowing that at the end of the program, they'll be eligible for an internship with Salesforce. So if you're graduating next year, you'll be looking for by that time, by the end of the summer, you'll be looking for FTE roles and not internships. So which is why we are targeting students who are graduating in 2024, so that in 2023, they're coming back as intern or applying to be, Salesforce interns, and then ultimately FTE the following year.
As far as the second question in terms of FTL versus site, sort of what are the differences there? So the very first difference is that site is virtual. So just make sure that you understand that portion. And for site itself is actually virtual program, and FTL, excuse me, is going to be in person on Salesforce's campus. So while that's the first major difference, it's a very similar curriculum in terms of being a full stack development course, but also with the FTL space, because it is on campus, that allows us a little bit more opportunity to delve more deeply into the Salesforce culture, and then also additional opportunities for sort of what I would call supplemental opportunities in terms of whether those are in-campus situations or meetings, and sort of developing up relationships. So it's one of those things where essentially the basic difference is that you're in person versus not. And then this one is definitely more leaning towards the Salesforce culture on purpose because it is taking place in their space. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit, but in terms of the learning and the actual concepts, they're very, very similar.
Yes, thank you.
That's part of your question. Yeah.
The other part of the question is between the April 20th, I think, or 22nd,
yeah,
the decisions for the site and the deadline for applying to the decision for the FTL. Will there be any like time to decide if we can get the chance to apply for both and see what we can choose later?
I'll be very transparent with you. It's going to be a tight turnaround, meaning that about a week's time frame from those who are sort of known for site, as well as those who are going to be known for FTL as well. So just being realistic that there's not a whole lot of time, but obviously there'll be a day or about a couple of days that you could maybe have to make that decision if that's something that happens for you.
Cool. All right. Next I see Burley. Burley. Okay. I'll move on to Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Long time no see.
Long time no see, Tori. Thank you for the thank you for picking me. This is Anthony speaking. My question goes to Tim. What type of engineers is Salesforce looking for?
Great question. We're looking for all walks of life. So back end, front end, full stack. We like engineers, similar to what Brian said earlier, is problem solving, people who have strong fundamentals in database and algorithms. Previous internship experience isn't necessarily like required, but sometimes it's a plus. I think this program would be a great plus as a precursor to a more traditional internship. I like to see interns who like to try to apply what they've learned in a classroom into a more practical sense, whether it's a personal project or maybe even like a student club or organization, again, where you're taking that theoretical knowledge and applying it in a practical sense. Those are things that our recruiters typically look for in candidates that we think will bode well in an internship experience where they're collaborating with others, with deadlines. There's complex problem solving involved. There's reaching out for help when you need it, that's involved. Those are the types of things that our recruiters typically look for in our engineering candidates. Does that help answer that for you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for the question.
Awesome. All right, next I see Marilyn.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It was really informative. I was wondering, because I'm a CS major, but I'm really interested in healthcare as well as philanthropy. So I was really excited that Salesforce has a focus on like sustainability and philanthropy in general. So my question is, how is those fields looking like for Salesforce? Are there teams that are working on those areas instead of traditional tech?
Larry, you want to take a stab at this, or you want me to give it a shot?
Yeah, happy to take that one. That's actually a great question, and which is one thing that I personally love about Salesforce and those commitments. I mean, philanthropy, well, sustainability is now our newest value at the company. So we have teams that are dedicated to philanthropy and sustainability at the company, and we think about ways to embed that into our products. We have sustainability cloud. We build solutions and products that our customers can use to measure their carbon footprint across their operations. So there are some teams that typically hire engineers, but there's also other teams that work on projects that are not necessarily tied to engineering. So there might be opportunities during the summer to learn more and be involved in VTO, what we call volunteer time off, volunteering activities that are touching on those areas. So those are some of the perks of the program.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, I see Ahmad.
Yeah, hello. My question is related to the pre-work assignment. So I wanted to implement a new technology in my pre-work assignment to improve my chances of getting accepted, but that technology also happens to be covered during the curriculum. So would that be like a bad idea? Would that like disqualify me?
It would not disqualify you. No, it wouldn't disqualify you. What I would say though is think about the opportunity if you are going to do, and I'm hoping this is in more of the options and extension space, because the thought process with the pre-work is really to see your expertise on those technologies, if that makes sense. And then if you want to go then and extend, certainly do that. But it would not, if you're saying to utilize a different technology altogether to then put it together, then that would be different. Let me put it that way. But what that would do is sort of let us know you might be more advanced than we were looking for the program. So I don't want to tell you one way or the other because that may not be the case, but I just want to give you the heads up. Like the idea is that we are looking for those that are sort of novice in the fields of these technologies, but who are willing to sort of go out and learn more. So if that's what you're doing, then that's awesome. But if you're saying that, oh, I already know how to do this in a different way, that might give us more opportunity to say this might be might be too advanced for this particular course.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Next, I see Andrew.
Hi, I wanted to ask a question about the travel and housing expenses. I wanted to ask how much will it be covered? Like, is there a budget we need to keep in mind so we don't go over it? And is there like will the whole thing be covered, or will there be a time where we have to pay for some of the transportation costs, or does it not matter?
I'm not sure I understand the question. So let me try to rephrase. Are you asking if there will be any cost that will come out of your pocket as part of the relocation?
Yes, will there be a time where if we go over a certain budget, we'll have to pay for ourselves?
Well, we're hoping that that won't happen. I don't have the exact dollar amount, but I'm pretty confident that our relocation stipend is pretty generous. And it's the same that we give to our software engineering interns to relocate from anywhere in the US to San Francisco for the summer. And same thing with our housing stipend. So we're hoping that students will stay within that, that window, that budget.
Thank you.
And this is also going to be discussed throughout the process. If and when you get selected, you will get a call from one of our recruiters that walk you through the offer package, including your hourly rate and including your stipend for relocation and housing.
Cool, thanks.
Exciting. All right, next I see Pax.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. I had a question actually for the Salesforce people about kind of the company culture. I was really happy to see that there was a lot of mention about employee resource groups and like the different forces. I was wondering how it feels to be a part of one of those, what kind of things you all do in general. How is it?
Happy to start. I love this question. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, our interns allowed to be part of it as well? I just had to add that on.
Good question.
Yes, so the answer is yes to both. So there will be opportunities, and usually, I know someone mentioned Slack at the beginning. There are opportunities for all of our interns or scholars throughout this program to get connected to our broader community. But that's a really good way for you to build community, connect with other folks with shared backgrounds and experiences. And so whether it's through events that are being hosted, whether it's in person or virtual, or resource sharing, or just connecting and to having conversations on Slack or in person throughout the summer. So there'll be a lot of those opportunities. And yes, our interns and scholars for this program will have access to those resources. And just like us as employees, there's always opportunities to connect with each other and build community. So
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Exciting. All right. Next, I see Amos.
Hi. Thank you guys for having this info session. So my question is, originally when I completed my pre-work, it had a deadline of April 1st. So I wasn't able to try my hand at some of the other optional deliverables. And during this meeting, I believe it was mentioned the deadline is actually April 22nd. So can I go back and, do an updates if I wanted to?
So yes, it seems like the April 1st deadline was for our other site program, which is very similar to this one. So if you would like to apply to this Salesforce program one, we can drop the link in the chat. It is the same pre-work and application process. So if had it started and you weren't able to complete it by April 1st, this deadline is April 22nd.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. All right, next I see Jason.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
What was that? Yes, sorry.
Thank you guys for hosting. And I was just had a quick question was, I know there's like the initial 5 weeks where like it's just like training, but like would there be, and we make a capstone project at the end. I was wondering if there would be like deliverables like every week after those initial 5 weeks. And like if there would be like with a team, like a Salesforce member, like overseeing and like reviewing.
So the way that will actually work is that it will be similar to that, but with the instructional team, and your mentor will be there every week along the way as well. So what we're really hoping to see is that you all will be as a pod helping to really structure what those timeline and deliverables will be, and sort of prioritizing what comes first, comes next, with the support of the instructional team, those stand-ups and your mentor in space. So essentially think about it in terms of you all will decide what that schedule looks like. You all will decide sort of what the priority features will come first, next, and so forth and so on. And you'll have your check-ins with the instructional team and the mentors to make sure that you're making progress.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Great. All right, I see Burley.
Hey guys, nice to meet all of you, and I'm excited about the program, Salesforce. I noticed that the seats are limited, but you guys are. I guess I'm headed this. So I'm forwarding this question towards the CodePath team. I know you guys have with this Salesforce thing and site thing. You guys are offering technologies like React and GraphQL and all those exciting technologies. So I'm wondering if, if we don't make the cut, will you have other sessions, even if it's free? Will you offer other sessions like that, like where we're learning these technologies?
And go for it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And so one of those things that we're actually doing right now, and we like to say, is that if you are not selected for this program, we have several other courses that happen throughout the year. And one of those that we're developing out now is a web development course based on a lot of the same technologies that are happening in both site and FTL as well. That will be available for you to also select and possibly take throughout the year as well. So the spring and the fall, and then also in the summer as well. So the short answer to that is yes. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the courses that we have available just throughout the year in general. And we are introducing a new web-based course to that selection coming in the fall as well.
Yeah, exciting. Cool. All right, I see Adnan.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I had a question about the site program application as well as this one. So if we apply to both, like, would it reduce our chances for the FTL program?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So won't reduce your chances. So again, it's sort of we're looking for students that would excel in both programs. So if you would excel in both programs, then you would fall into the list of consideration. So.
Okay, and then my last question was for eligibility. So you guys talked about how like the interview recording really helps to like figure out who we are and our interests. So I was wondering, like, does that play like a bigger role like in eligibility?
Well, I wouldn't say in eligibility, but I mean in terms of selection, so what could be helpful is thinking of the video responses as like an interview, right, if you will, just in the idea that as opposed to it being live, you're being recorded. So it's not necessarily that it will change the eligibility, but it does help in terms of us making a selection one way or the other, along with your written responses. So it's not just the video, making sure that you're also answering those questions thoroughly as well.
All right, thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, I see Randy.
Yes, hello. So my question was, if you don't get accepted to the site, are you able to also apply for the Salesforce and add more features or better your application for the Salesforce program?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and I think we recommend applying to both. So, you can submit the same pre-work and interview, but just make sure you're applying to both applications.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next I see Rishab.
Hi, this might be a little bit too specific for now, but for the Salesforce people, when the summer 2023 internships will be released, or like the applications will be released? I know it's a bit in advance, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, Rashad, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding your question, and I believe that question is when can people start to apply for summer 2023 internships?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we typically try to get our head count in June timeframe and have jobs posted shortly thereafter. We've tried to move the goalpost to make it earlier and earlier year over year. I would say that we'll probably have job recs definitely up and posted definitely by August and probably even in July.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. All right, I know we're a few minutes over, so if you guys need to head out, by all means, we'll hang tight a little bit longer. There's a few more questions. If you do need to, maybe send a question about your application, my team will drop in the chat our admissions email. It's admissions@codepath.org. You can also send emails there if you guys got to run. I just want to be respectful of time. I do see a few other questions. I see Blessing.
Hey, I wanted to know if we're not accepted to either the SIT or the FTL, we will be known of why we were not accepted and what we could have done better in.
Brian, or
I'll jump in there. So I will say to some degree, but being very transparent with you, with there being so many videos, individual feedback, it's just not as possible. But we do have sort of the ideas of things that are sort of largely pieces, right? So if there were things that were missing, you would certainly get that. If there was something that didn't sort of connect through, you might get some of those information. But in terms of individual feedback, we are not providing individual feedback per se.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I see Omar.
Yeah, I had two questions, and kind of just to piggyback off of Blessing. So we will be getting a confirmation email whether or not we make it into either programs. Okay, cool. And then the second question is, so say we're taking classes over the summer, will we have a lot of time to maybe attend our classes if they are virtual, if we get either into either program, or would we have time, allotted to maybe do some of the work, or would that just be reserved to after the work day?
It might have to be after, because looking at the schedule, it looks like it's a 9 to 5 schedule. So it might kind of be tight if you have any classes during the day. So keep that in mind.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to spread yourself too thin there, Omar. One of our requirements for our traditional internship program is that you actually are on summer break if it is a summer internship, or you are not enrolled in classes if it's an off-season co-op, right? We want you to be fully committed to the work, and vice versa. When you go back to school, we want you to be fully committed to school and not necessarily be double dipping. So commit to the program. If you're in the program, commit to school while you're in school, and give yourself that breathing room.
Definitely.
Sounds good.
Super important.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem. All right, I think last one is Randy. Randy, are you there? Or did we get your question already? I think we
Yes, I already asked the question. Thank you.
Okay, great, no problem. All right, I think that wraps it up. Is there anything else in the chat that we want to address? Let's see. Thank you guys for hanging tight.
Yeah. There was a question for Tim, it looks like. Do you guys typically only do co-ops with schools you recruit at?
Good question. So we do have co-op partnerships with a couple of traditional co-op programs. The majority of our internships are eggs that are in the summer basket. The co-ops that we do have are few and far between during the fall and spring, and they're typically reserved for a couple traditional co-op schools.
Okay. All right. Is it okay if our recorded interview went a little over 5 minutes? I think it's okay, but definitely try to keep it within the 5 minutes, I would say.
Yes, please.
Yeah. We're reviewing quite a few, so let's see.
Yeah.
I think Rose left. I know her speaker wasn't working. Did we answer her question? I'm not sure. I don't see that she's here. Never mind. Oh, I see another question. Howie again?
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's like a pipeline from this program to like a traditional Salesforce internship, and is there anything like we bypass through participating in this program, or like is there a special like application we get or anything like that? Thank you.
That is a great question. There'll be more information about that actually in the next few weeks, but the idea is really that students who participate in the program will have to submit an application just like any other student that is considered for a software engineering internship. So I want to make sure everything is fair, but the good news is you are part of the ecosystem in terms of networking and building connections and learning about the recruiting process. You will be here with us this summer, but you will still have to apply.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, I see that. Oh, I see another question. Muzaffar?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I just had one question. Is it possible, let's say, if you were rejected from site, is it possible to be accepted to the future, to the FTL, or does that not happen?
I would say yes.
Yeah, it is definitely possible.
Possible. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. All right. I guess that's it. Did you guys see any other questions in the chat that we want to address? Or also feel free to reach out to our email admissions@CodePath, even if you have something regarding your application. If you need to go back and edit something, please reach out. We are here for you. Also, highly recommend that Slack channel. It's extremely helpful. We've heard really good things from our students, and we have 24-hour support. So by all means, join our Slack channel. If that's it, I'm happy to give you guys all your time back. Thanks again for hanging tight. Really excited to see you all this summer. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Good night, everybody.
Sorry, thank you, Brian, Larry.
Yes. Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. Thanks, team.